Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I'm checking out the all-new ONN Surf 12.1-inch Tablet Pro. Now, this is a little bit different from the 11-inch Tablet Pro that they just released. This one is in rose gold. I have a video for this separately that I'll link down below or have a card for. So, on here, on the box, we can tell that this one has a Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset. This one doesn't show anything, so I'm curious to see if it has the same or different processor. Hopefully it's even better than that. On the back here, what is better is the resolution, a 2560 by 1600 resolution, so basically 1440p plus, so that's kind of nice. It'll be nicer to watch videos on there. A 2.2 gigahertz octa-core processor with 6 gigabytes of RAM, and then they mention it's up to 15 hours of battery, 128 gigabytes of internal storage with expandable memory. And then this DTX Ultra speaker. Now on the other one it had 4 speakers, so I'm assuming this will be the same. Inside the box, we have the tablet itself here. Wow, it's just like dark black. I'll put that to the side for a second. Oh, and it feels cold too, because it's made of aluminum, I guess. And it is pretty slim as well. I'm going to put this to the side for a second. We got the user guide here, as well as a gray USB-C to USB-C cable and a USB-C wall outlet. It also has a pin to get to the micro SD card tray that's located on the top here. And then along with that, there's a microphone on top, camera, light sensor. It's kind of labeling everything here, along with the power button, volume keys, 2 speaker grills on the side, like mentioned before, as well as 2 other speaker grills on the right side. And then it says that there's a USB-C, and it looks like a headphone jack, but it's actually just the USB-C port that supports a headphone jack, or you can use a kind of an adapter or whatever. So unfortunately, no dedicated 3.5mm aux cable. And on the back, there's really nothing much except for the camera, rear camera, and flash. So the camera is kind of whatever. It feels washed out, nothing too crazy. It's, yeah, nothing crazy. You can read stuff on here, so it's good for taking notes. And then the front camera, it's also enough for a Skype call or video call. Here, nothing too impressive, but one thing that is these thin bezels here. I kind of like that about this. This is one of the nicer, probably nicest looking tablets that they've made. It's almost like they're trying to copy Apple in a sense, you know, with these thin bezels, or even the Amazon Fire, because the Amazon had thin bezels just like this. And here's the Fire 11. The body looks about the same, except it has that disgusting Fire OS software-wise. So yeah, basically a smaller version in a sense. And it's hard for me to tell here, but I don't know, thickness does feel a little thinner on the ONN, but it could just be because it's such a big tablet. But yeah, it's looking just about the same in terms of thickness. Out of the box, there's not too much storage. You got your basic stuff, including, actually I don't see the Walmart app here this time. That's kind of interesting. And then there's a decent amount of storage space, 113 gigs free out of 128. Again, not that much, but it's a better start than some other ones that are running at 64 gigs, like the 11-inch tablet, I would say. The screen itself is pretty decent. It doesn't get too bright. The colors feel just kind of standard, like you would expect, but it does look pretty nice when watching videos because it has a DRM level or security level of L1, so you can watch videos at HD, full HD, 1080p, unfortunately not 4K. So I can confirm that videos can be watched at 1440p at 60 FPS. It doesn't go up to 4K, which is kind of unfortunate, but not the end of the world. The speakers are pretty decent here, but honestly I still would have preferred 2 speakers instead of 4 because it kind of feels immersive enough if it's on the side. Front-facing speakers would be a lot better personally, and instead of having 4 speakers, if they just kept it 2, they could have probably just put the 3.5mm headphone jack instead of having those 4. Because, I don't know, for me, 4 doesn't make it that much better. It does get louder, though, and it doesn't get too tinny. So, I guess that is a plus. And I will say, I am a fan of the screen itself, like the sharpness, too. It has a good PPI, or pixels per inch. If we go to CPU-Z, we see some more specs here, the CPU and GPU. GPU is ARM Mali G57 MC2. So, and then it has a 249 PPI or DPI. In terms of performance, this thing does a pretty good job overall. I haven't noticed any delays whatsoever. Look at how smooth that is. The single-core, multi-core score are pretty low at 716 and 1831. It doesn't come close to any other device here, but thankfully it doesn't translate to real-life performance here because, again, like I said, things that I've been doing, it's been performing pretty well. The GPU score here is here, and then the Vulkan. There's like 2 different GPU tests you can do on here. So this one was Vulkan. So again, pretty low overall, but nonetheless, everything's working great. You can multitask on here. You might notice some slowdown with multitasking because it has 6 gigs of RAM, but 6 gigs of RAM is at least enough in today's day and age, I would like to think. Well, I mean, just suitable, I should say, more so for budget devices. First game here is RuneScape, and as you can see, I'm getting about 40 frames just looking around, so it's doing a pretty good job so far. This is definitely playable. As you zoom out, you'll notice some more frame rate drops. It can get down to the 20s, but close up, it'll be more consistent at the 40s, and goes up to 50 too. So not bad, and this is at the lowest settings. You can probably raise it a little bit if you wanted to. Yeah, honestly, for game performance, I would just leave it at this. Next game here is Genshin Impact, and the only thing I changed here was the FPS to 60. Everything else is at the lowest except for crowd density, which is high. It looks like it's working decently. Oh, that was kind of smooth. Yeah, and I heard that this isn't too well optimized for low-end devices, which is okay. I mean, it seems like it's doing a good job here. So part of the reason why it's not too well optimized is because you might notice some like slowdowns and stutters here and there, especially when you're getting into a fight, which is what I'm trying to find right now. Let's use a quick power up. Yep, no lag there. This is actually performing pretty well, better than expected at the lowest graphics. Everything, yep, I noticed a little bit of lag there, but overall it's doing a good job. Maybe some slight frame rate drops here and there, but nothing too crazy. So this is actually playable. This is doing a great job. Better than I expected for video games. Now this is at medium settings. It's not as smooth, but it's still doing a good job overall. Yeah, this is pretty nice. I'm probably going to try to set it to the max and see what we can get just for the heck of it. Okay, so it mentions that right when I change it to the highest, that some of the graphics settings will be adjusted when I restart the game. But when I try to restart it, all the graphics kind of reset to the lowest, so we're going to have to work with what we can here. And it looks like everything is still playable. So I guess you can't really play at the highest graphics settings, but overall this is playable. It can handle games pretty well. This is easily Walmart's best tablet yet. And it's not just because it was released this year and it's just like a mediocre tablet. This actually does a pretty good job with whatever I throw at it. Performance is great. You can play games on here a lot better than before too. It's relatively thin. It feels premium. It's a nice screen to body ratio. It is a little bigger than others, so they do have the alternative, which is the ONN 11-inch Tablet Pro that I have a separate video for that I'll have an annotation or card somewhere here and a link down below. This one is also cheaper. Performance is a little not as good too. I mean, you can check it out for yourself. And then finally, as for battery life, I haven't tested it out too thoroughly, but I've had this on for over pretty much half an hour now, and I'm at 96%. So that's not enough to say whether or not it's a good battery life. But I did have this on for a couple of hours yesterday, and I wish they had a better system to kind of showcase the battery usage, especially what your screen on time was, so I can give a better feel or give you a better feeling about this. But overall, I had the screen on for a couple of hours last night. I mean, continuously too, because it was downloading some stuff and I had a game running. With that being said, I bet you can get a full day out of this without any problems. So just based on my little experience that I had for the last few days. So take that how you will. Overall, again, Walmart's best tablet yet. They did a good job here, I would say, overall. And they certainly did a better job than Amazon, because look at Amazon. For 2024, they released this, which is $100. It's the Fire 8. It's a poor excuse for a tablet. It runs Fire OS and everything. Again, I'll have a link for this if you want to check it out. This is probably the worst tablet that I've seen this year. But anyways, guys, I hope you found this video helpful, and stay tuned for more cheap budget electronics, because I'll be checking them out. And if you have any suggestions, let me know below. As always, guys, thanks for watching.